It's another beautiful morning to take a look at happenings in and around Nigeria here on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Good morning to you and welcome. This is the Polity. My name is Chisom Chinedu. And of course, I am not alone in the studio. Franklin Ebuka is here as well. Good morning, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. And if I have to borrow the words of Ndi Wosega Aguon.
Aguon, true, because the one where you talk before I open this microphone, which to go on for.
All right, so it's all about what we do here, because every time we congregate on this our sanctuary, in the words of Tony, what do? We speak with authority and we tell you what you need to do, and at the same time, bring you all the best analysis. And this very morning, it promises to be quite interesting because lots of things actually happened yesterday in Anambra State. Yesterday, the governor of Anambra State, went to Abakaliki Street and they restored the name. I think it was on this platform 2 days ago that we talked about it, an offshoot of what happened in Lagos State. And yesterday, and in fact now, if you drive into Abakaliki Street, you will see a big, you see a signpost telling you that this is Abakaliki Street, and yesterday was that restoration.
Did that place ever stop being Abakaliki Street? That's another big question. By the papers, yes.
It was renamed then to Club Road, but nobody ever used that very word Club Road because Abakaliki Street had sunk in the memory of people for quite a long time. But yesterday, after that very action that happened yesterday, there was this very explanation that came from the government quarter saying that the reason the governor decided to restore that very name was because he wanted to honor the legacy of the man who graded the road in the 70s. And he was the very person to go to register that very street and call it Abakaliki Street with the registry. Because he said the man is from Ebonyi State, so that he wanted to keep that very legacy. Maybe we'll talk about it later. And then another thing that caught my fancy is, the story I just shared with you this very morning, talking about the concerns that health experts and stakeholders in the health sector have expressed about development in Anambra State. Basically in Onitsha and then in Awadobosi, they are saying that the cemetery, in Orifite Street in Awadobosi, and then the new cemetery road, that way in Onitsha, not local government area of Anambra State, they have been sold to different individuals and they have been converted to residential areas. And there was no reburial, of the remains in those very cemetery. And they are saying that these things could pose some health concerns and other concerns that they haven't spoken of. There are some persons who have spoken, like some ecologists and co. They spoke about this. So maybe if urban development agency and person might want to wade in to see what they're going to do about this, to find out if necessary things were done before such conversions were made. So maybe I'm going to rest it here and then maybe add. Yes, they talked about the reward which Mr. President gave to Super Falcons. And later, I think that was later yesterday, Governor Zodema also rewarded or hosted, Super Falcons players from Imo State. I think about 7 or 8 of them. And since then, we haven't known any peace. In fact, even VDM jumped on this very matter, saying that he displayed tribalism by hosting only players from Imo State. And the question has been, do we suffer from selective amnesia in this very country? For us to recall that this is not the very first time of having this. It's been like a norm that sometimes when we have people who achieve a certain feat, we might celebrate them at national level. At the end of the day, governors of these very people still host them. If you just go to the internet now, you will see litany of cases. The one that was done by Sonolu, I don't understand why everything in the country now, is twisted to have some tribalistic inclination. I don't understand, because it's becoming like we are more divided than united in this very country now.
All right then. When I saw that, I was torn between buying into the sentiments that VDM was trying to whip up and the truth of what he said. But it's also not going to be the first time that we have this kind of regional celebrations. It happens with BBN when the people who come from certain places coast to victory or even make it to the house, and when they come out, they are hosted by their various state governments. I know this is quite private and it's not nationalistic, but it's not going to be the first time that. I mean, they've been celebrated by Nigeria as a country with the president doing what he did. And now, what's the big deal in their own governors also saying, come home? I don't know what you think about this, Tony. By the way, Studio Olisa Mbeki is here with us to do justice to all of the matters on the table. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Anambra, Onitsha. Wherever you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure to be here. And we are back here in our sanctuary to proclaim the truth and at the same time to uphold it, to preserve it, and state things the way they are. Good morning to God Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth, for making us to be here this very morning. Without him, we wouldn't have been here, and you may not be able to hear what we are saying. And we say good morning to every one of you listening to us at this very moment. There is no place to be only on 104.7 FM. It's important. Go to Facebook, we are live. Go to YouTube, we are live. What do you enjoy here? Share with your brothers. Coming back to some of the issues you guys raised this very morning about the dust raised by the reward by Mr. President and the hosting by Governor Hope Uzodinma and the reactions coming out from different quarters. Most Nigerians tread more on what divides us as against what unites us. And just like you mentioned, Franklin, we've seen governors rewarding players from their states. The president has done his own as the father of the nation. If Hope Uzodinma goes on to host all of the players, he may be equating with Mr. President. He may more like people will like, you just something like that. So he is very sensitive that he cannot do the same way Mr. President has done. So let it not be that he's more like trying to throw a challenge to Mr. President. So he decided to go after those who are from Imo State and ask their governor to also do same for those who are from the state. But the point remains that out there in Morocco there is a controversy, because I'm aware that the Moroccan Football Federation, FRMF, has petitioned formally the Confederation of African Football, CAF, claiming that refereeing decisions unfairly influenced the outcome of the match, which held at the Olympic Stadium in Rabat. In fact, I'm aware that they made it specifically clear that the center referee, in fact, that the center of Morocco's protest was that very incident, the 82nd minute incident when Nigerian defender Tosin Demihin was flagged for a handball inside the box. The referee initially awarded a penalty, but after VAR review, the decision was overturned, much to the frustration of the Moroccan bench. They have lodged a petition before CAF, and they say that cost them the game. That's what they said. But that's by the way. They are writing petition at that level. We are here killing ourselves over what Mr. President gave these players. I've had many reactions, but by your non-gas comparison of BB Niger prize money of 150 and what Mr. President gave to these girls has also generated another controversy. I made that very comparison the other time here, but I have since withdrawn my own comparison. But Nigerians are attacking Bayo Onanuga. What are they telling him? That you are talking about adult reality show where the money being splashed on these contestants or even the so-called winner was gotten from partnership, adverts, subscription, so many things. And you're talking about public money. That the money Mr. President showered on this girl, is that money his own money? That you can decide to use your money the way you want. But when it comes to public money, they reminded by you that money Mr. President splashed is not his money. It is our collective patrimony. But Bayo hasn't responded. But then there are quite a lot of controversies. In fact, maybe with time, we're going to talk about what Mr. Governor did yesterday at Abakaliki Street. But that will be maybe by the time we get into the intricacies of the game.
Definitely. We need to first of all do the roundups of what happened yesterday, talking about what the front pages say, starting with the Nation, because we also have the Vanguard, the Punch, and the Guardian newspapers. The North is Udala breathing harder, Mr. President. The Nation says Yilwata Akume Yahya Sani rally north for Tinubu. The writers, Aliyu region's elite to blame for wars. ACF, NEF seek more federal support for infrastructure development. These you'd find on page 3. Also, you'd see that Tinubu carrying people along in governance, says Shetima. Also, Villa not vacant till 2031. President fulfilling promise to region. These you'd also find on page 3. Ladoja, I will prioritize filling vacant positions in Olubado or chieftaincy lines on page 5. First Lady's RHI lifts Benue attack victims with 1 billion naira. News page 5. Transcore Group raked in 379.7 billion in H1. 4.06 billion for shareholders on page 7. FIRS holds tax exemption to firms, NGOs and FTZs on page 7. Patients discharged as nurses join doctors strike in Lagos on page 5. Response to AG's queries on 210 trillion naira cash. Senate tells NPCL. The rider, we didn't say money missing or stolen. That's on page 5. PDP ADC lock horns in supremacy battle. Mark Aregbesola take oaths of office. On page 2, federal government gives automatic employment to 200 outstanding youth corps members on page 4.
Okay, so let's go over to the Vanguard newspaper. We have the banner headline here that says Tinubu reassures North of development as ACF chair, ex SGF kick. The story is on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. It has riders. My government will leave no region behind in development at Tinubu. Northern governors reaffirm support for president. Call for deepened citizens' engagement. Boko Haram bandit attack decline under Tinubu. Rebadu. North marginalized under Tinubu. ACF chair. Wamkwaso is right. North is marginalized. Babachi Lawal and Ohaneze Pandev. MBF speaks. Okay, so yesterday there was this very I would call it an engagement on governance which was organized by a center, a Bill center in Kaduna yesterday. So during that very event, it brought about politicians of northern extraction and likewise the federal government for them to interact on how government has been going about implementing or fulfilling its promises. And we saw some of the APC politicians saying that the president has been fair to the north and he's been delivering on his promises. In fact, they even listed some of the projects that he has been executing in the north. But the likes of Babachi Lawal, the view that the president hasn't delivered on his promises to the north, that he has marginalized the north. That's what the story is all about. Then we move over to the next story on Vanguard. It says, First Lady donates. Okay, so it says, First Lady donates 1 billion naira to resettle Benue IDPs. You can see the story is a picture story here. Doctors, nurses threaten strike nationwide over poor welfare. It's on page 7 of Vanguard newspaper. Above the nameplate, the headline says, Raki to supporters, I didn't direct anyone to join ADC. That's on page 10. What does that mean? IMF upgrades Nigeria's economic growth forecast to 3.4%. You can see the story on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper. States tackle FG over equity ownership of discos. NDP PHC is on page 23 of Vanguard newspaper. Then other headlines we have here. Quality of LG elections still low, says INEC. CX express misgiving over Supreme Court judgment on Rivers Council poll. And somebody will say, kettle calling pot black. Kettle calling pot black because CX and INEC. I wonder when INEC says that the quality of local government elections conducted by the CX are below par. And then our next target is to win World Cup at Jibade. That's on sports page 32 of the Vanguard newspaper. 2027 ADC might become another PDP or APC if who is saying so is Lukman. He's the person who is warning that this might happen to the ADC. He has a rider. We will stop imposition, reform ADC bureaucracy. Mark replies Lukman. That's on page 9. British High Commission CDS decry killing of 38 kidnapped hostages after ransom payment. You can see the story on page 9 of Vanguard newspaper, and that brings to an end the headlines we have from this very paper.
All right, then we are proceeding to the next paper on our desk this morning, and that would be the Punch newspaper. Banner headline here: Power rotation debate heats up as North reviews Tinubu's scorecard. On page 2, the writers: Tinubu must complete 8 years, says Afenifere Middle Belt Forum. Opposition tackle APC zoning stand. Nurses Shan FG talks begin warning strike today. On page 40, states accused of sabotaging power sector decentralization. On page 31, North splits over Tinubu marginalization claim. The writer here: President abandoned North, says ACF. Northern leaders impoverished region. Kaduna governor. On page 2, the question now would be: we had a government that focused on the North because it was judged far from development compared to other parts of the country, and presently they are claiming to be abandoned. And I am just wondering, at the point where other regions were literally abandoned, I don't get the kind of politics that we are starting to play.
I tell you what, even if the government of the day decide to concentrate all the project in the North will say complain.
I guess why they are complaining is because their brother Buhari focused more on the North.
Does it make
and
any
possibly
sense?
they would want the president to also focus more on the North. In fact, I must be honest to you, apart from Southwest, where Mr. President has done extensively well, the next place he has done so much work remains the North. If we are talking about marginalization here, the people that are totally and then roundly marginalized is the Southeast. As I'm aware, currently, Mr. President, many projects. Are you not aware of Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano, Dua carriageway that is going on now? A critical 700-kilometer corridor linking the Federal Capital Territory to the northern states, with the fast extensions to Aminu Kano International Airport. Are you not aware about Kano Medigri Dua carriageway that is currently going on? Are you not also aware about Sokoto Badagry superhighway that is also going on? Are you not also aware about Zaria Hunkia and also Daya Road? Are you not aware of Diwa Gambori in Gala Road? So we can go on and mention many of them. Even Kano Kaduna standard gauge railway, which is about 203 kilometers. So you can also talk about Kano Maradi rail line that is also going. Kaduna light rail, right rail system. So there are so many projects Mr. President actually has over there. But the point remains that he created the Ministry of Livestock for them. Are we not also aware that in his, I think that was around 2003. So are we not also aware that Mr. President gave 60 billion out of a pledged 120 billion to establish about 184 hectares of agro-livestock complex in Gombe? He has released 60 billion, and what is remaining will be the remaining 60 billion.
Oh well.
So, and in that very agro-livestock complex, you have ultra-modern abattoir, livestock market, feed and grains market, slaughter, fattening hubs, tannery, and so many things. So my concern is, have we seen any of this in the Southeast? None. So if we talk about marginalization, Southeast is totally and roundly marginalized, and the worst remains that our leaders don't talk.
Okay,
we can go on and talk about it.
We can go on and on, like you pointed out, but like I said earlier, it baffles me every time that the North cries about marginalization, and the word abandoned, I found it quite bizarre. But also on the front page of the Punch, you see that the 210 trillion naira audit conversation is still on. Senate is demanding an MPCL response in 3 weeks. On page 32, nurses Shan FG talks begin warning strike today. On page 40, states accused of sabotaging power sector decentralization. On page 31, Niho Terror sets up panel to sanction tourism offenders. On page 40, Olubadon Olakulehi for burial August 8. On page 30, These are the stories you'd find on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, so we'll cross over to the Guardian newspaper, and we have the banner headline here that says, Disco overbill 2 million customers, struggle with metering efficiency. You can see that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Then you can see a breakdown of commercial performance of discos in May 2025. It's on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Beneath the nameplates, we have 3 headlines, and one of them is 210 trillion naira audit gap. I needed time to get it right. NNPC boss tells Senate. That's on page 2. That's on page 3. Finally, yesterday he appeared before the Senate. Senate is on recess, but the committee work is ongoing, so he appeared before them. And I listened to Adam Soshomole telling him that he disrespected the Senate by not, responding to the summon. But he apologized, and the apology was accepted. And he told them that they have to give him 1 month for him to go and look at the books, because it's been barely 102 days after he resumed as the head of the NNPCL. And they gave him 21 days for him to go look at the books and come back. But the point is this, they're saying, we're not saying the money was embezzled, but rather we need accounting on this very money, 210 trillion naira, that nobody has been able to provide answers for. And then another headline here says, NDLA auction drug traffickers' properties in Lagos, Kano, Ondo, and Ogun State. You can see the story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Mob lynches police officer's son for beheading brother in Ondo State. That's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Northern leaders criticize Tinubu's record as governor. Others rally in defense. We just talked about it. It's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigeria's economy to grow by 3.4% this year. IMF affirms. It's on page 15. I think this story is contained in all the papers we have this very morning. And this one says Nigerians spent 1.3 trillion naira on PMS in June as Dangote marketers deepen competition. That's on page 4. This competition, I want it to go deep so that let's see if the price of a liter of petrol will come down more. I also want to see the price of cooking gas to come down. I think that was 2 days ago. I was going through some of my files and I saw a receipt I used to purchase cooking gas 2 years ago. And 6 kg then was about 2,000 plus. And now we're talking about 7,000 plus for 6 kg.
Oh dear.
Okay, so the other story here says current security architecture can't contain insecurity. Alias says it's on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. FG cautions as Ghanaians allege ritual killings, prostitution against Nigerians. It's on page 4, and we saw the idea of the protest about 2 days ago, but yesterday was maybe the crescendo, and they are saying Nigeria should leave Ghana for them because
play the audio. Let's play the audio in a
because they have been doing a whole lot in that very country, but NIDCOM has intervened. Then another story we have here says Nihoto raises tribunal to sanitize hospitality tourism sector. That's on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper, and these are the headlines we have this morning.
And of course, we are starting the conversation already. We actually do not have so much time, so we are going to quickly round off that conversation on Oka, the renaming of that street. Tony, does it hold any significance for you?
Just like we said, many a times we are not good students of history, and then I think I wrote an article on that very story. I've heard quite a lot being said about the very development, but Mr. Governor yesterday felt that yes, there had been designation or redesignation. There's difference between redesignation and removing Abakaliki Street entirely. So what he did yesterday was to restore Abakaliki Street to where it was formerly known for, and then remove it from where it was redesignated. What Obiano did in 2018 was to redesignate, take it to another street, and then rename that very street Club Road. And they termed it for over security reasons, because we know what that place used to be. But we've seen what Governor Soludo has done. Remember, he has started that very road. He built a solution, would you call it a solution market around that very place. I've been there, and then the roads there tell the story more. And he has revamped that very area. But since what happened in Lagos generated furore, and Nigerians are talking, and some people, out of mischievousness, try to link Soludo to the renaming of Abakaliki Street right there in Oka. Something that happened in 2018, 4 years before he became governor. But people will remain mischievous no matter how they try to color it. And the governor felt that, yes, my predecessor did this out of security concern. But now security seems to have been restored in Anambra State, and he brought it back to where it were. So look at it from different angle. Some say, that's politics. He just wants to ally with the people because the elections are closer. But at the same time, he felt that this should be done in a way to rewrite whatever story negatively painted about that very incident. Just like you pointed out, both of you pointed out that even that very road, nobody know it by Club Road. Even after the renaming, it had always been known by Abakaliki Street. And recall, when that road was redesignated, a lot of things came up. The Ebonyi State House of Assembly gave Anambra State 7-day ultimatum to restore it. I'm also aware that Honorable Chinedu Oga, representing one of the federal constituencies in Ebonyi State, also raised it before the House of Representatives. But the government of Anambra State responded that we did not take it down. We redesignated it to another place. But they accepted it and said, oh, if that be the case, we accept it. But some people have raised the doors in different forms, in different ways. But Governor Soludo, coming on, fails to align with what the people want. And he has restored the original name and also designated whatever that was initially done. So, but the point remains that he chose to do what he did yesterday, and to the happiness of some people who were there yesterday. And you ask, what meaning does that tell? It tells the meaning that for those who had painted wrong picture about what happened and link it to him, and those who were painting that picture linked it to him even when he was not there, but he had now done what he felt that should be done. And just like you pointed out, a man in 1970 something, 75 or thereabout, went there, cleared the street and registered it at the registry. So that he has restored, and that is the case.
Okay, so Tony, because if you look at what the government of Anambra State has explained as the reason behind this restoration of the name of Abakaliki Street or that very road, like we just pointed out, that there's one man known as Pauzo Demma, who was the person that cleared and graded that very Abakaliki Street. That was in 1975. And it was just 1 year after he left the Ebonyi State for Anambra State, because he left the Ebonyi in 1974. And that what government did was just to, ensure that the man's legacy is kept, because government was wondering what could have run in the mind of this very man the time he learned that, the legacy he created was erased by virtue of renaming that street to Club Road. Now, I have seen the defense which was put up by some persons who served in the government of Obiano, saying that the real reason Obiano decided to rename that first street was because of the nature of businesses that have sprung up along that Abakaliki Street. That if you go there, you see restaurants, you see a club, and other kind of businesses that are similar. And for that street to reflect what happens there, he decided to rename it Club Road, so that if anybody is coming to Anambra State and you're looking for clubs, by the just mention of the name Club Road, of course, you can connect with what they have. Before this action that happened yesterday, there was a statement that came from Commissioner for Information in Anambra State, Dr. Mefo, where he explained that it wasn't Soludo that that renamed it, rather it was under Obiano. Now, I have seen some persons who served in the Obiano government saying that by that statement that Obiano was thrown under the bus. Do you agree?
I think everybody has opinion, and everyone can say whatever he wants to say to achieve whatever political interest he would wish to achieve. The most important thing is to set the record straight. What Mefo was trying to do was to set the record. If you are saying that this happened, narrate how it happened, not necessarily throwing Obiano into the bus or for whatever reason. You can't just say that somebody was born 1980, whereas the person was actually born in 1986. And if you are trying to put the record straight, some people will say, oh, you are trying to call the person who said it before a liar and all that. Not necessarily calling the person a liar or trying to, throw a jab at the person. The point is to set the record straight. I believe in records. So that's what the commissioner did, not necessarily trying to drag Obiano into the whole thing. The record says It was renamed in 2018, and reasons behind it. One, they say it's for security reasons. And remember that very street has a lot of shadow economic activities going on there. Drugs, prostitution, hotels, and clubs. And just like I said earlier on, and it's somehow bad to have a place in Igbo land known very well be tagged to such shadow economic activities going on there. And the government decided on that note to bring a name that reflects such shadow economic activities and remove the people who bear such name Abakaliki from the whole thing, and it's purely for security concern. But for the fact that people did not accept it, and for the fact that the crime has been fought, just like Soludo said yesterday, we have defeated some of these shadow economic activities. You can go there and see drug activities. Yes, you can have fun, you can have clubs, but not the way it were before. So he has restored what he found that it is best for him to restore.
Okay, so let me say this for the record's sake, because you know that what gave rise to what we're having now is because of what the outgoing chairman of Barega LCDA did in Lagos. It's where, you know, he renamed the Charlie Boy bus stop to Bado for whatever reason that is best known to him. And if you look at social media, see the kind of conversation that, you know, that came up. And some persons were saying, "Oh, do we have something like that in Igbo land or what have you not?" But I can just speak for the one I'm quite aware. If you go to, I think that should be Oka North, Oka South, there is a street named Professor Wole Soyinka Close.
That is just one. There are so many of them. There are Dela Bulls and you name them.
Former police commissioner Anambra said before he left, a street was named after him, Adoye. Before he left, Adoye Close, somewhere in Oka there. And so many others. Just for people to understand this, and that I know that there is always a process of, you know, naming street. That's a process, and the responsibility resides with local government. So if that is met and there is no all these sinister attachment to it, I think we can just easily live harmoniously. But for people of our Igbo extraction who go to Lagos and say it's a no man's land, they can do anything they like. I don't think that aligns very well. The thing is, if you go to any man's country, you should do your business.
Now, speaking about doing your business,
obey rules and regulations. But this issue of every time tribal war, I don't understand.
You know, speaking about doing what you're supposed to do in any man's country, Nigerians came under fire in Ghana. I am trying to pull up the video. So this is exactly a recording of the protest and somebody who spoke to the media. The placards I see, our kids are getting missing because of Igbos. Let's listen for starters, for briefly, then we proceed.
How the Nigerians into the country? What are they coming to do? We know we are all ECOWAS. What is the purpose of Nigerians every president they come into Ghana? What are they coming here to do? Then they are killing us. That will come, you and I. Our children cannot go out and buy something and come back. You cannot go night and go and buy your Indomie. You and I cannot close work at night and come home peacefully. Look at what they did to our mother in Nigeria, High Commission. Ghana High Commission in Nigeria. High Commission in Nigeria. They kill her from his car. They kill her. Why Nigerians? Are you the only people in Ghana? Are you the only people in the world? China is chasing Nigeria. South Africa is chasing Nigeria. Uganda is chasing Nigeria. Why Nigerians? Especially the Igbos and the so-called Igbo king. This is a message to him. It should be.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to end it. He said making threats. But he made a couple of points there that sparked conversations over the weekend. The fact that Nigerians seem to have this, I don't know what to call it now, this fallout with their host communities over time. This is not the first time. Now, the issues of marginalization are on the plate. We understand that. But the concerns being raised, like I said earlier, some of the placards here say money laundering and money counterfeiting must stop. May God punish any leader having hands in this mess. Our kids are getting missing because of Igbos. I saw others that spoke about prostitution and drug peddling. And the big question is, why are fingers pointing at Nigerians? Shadow businesses happen in different economies. in different parts of the world. But sometimes when these things happen, you find out that fingers are pointed at Nigerians, and then eventually, most times, they trail it down to Igbos. This protest in Ghana reportedly had they tagged Nigerians, but they kept, especially the youth who spoke to the press, kept saying Igbos, Igbos, Igbos. The conversations came up over the weekend about abiding by the tenets of the people that you have come to live with and do business among. You know what they say, when you go to Rome, behave like the Romans. But two things for me, Tony. One thing, living like them when you are with them, and the kind of life we live here that we eventually take to these places. I mean, sometime before, late last year, that was when we started having some kind of respite. Kidnapping was a free trade in different parts of the country. Over here in Anambra State, it was a mess. Human organ trafficking, you name it. And now the question, I'm not casting aspersions here. I'm not throwing stones. I am asking the truth in these allegations, and is there any need for us to call for a value reorientation?
I think it's a mix of a lot of things. When you talk about value orientation or reorientation, I don't believe in all those things. I believe in a government doing what it should do as a government. If you go to places like United States of America, Europe, Western countries, they don't talk about value reorientation. They believe on institutions being strong and work accordingly and then in accordance with the law. The issue of value reorientation or reorientation, these are things you speak in the church. When you go to church, you speak to people to change their value system and all that. Or you go to communities, you go to places like my hometown, you can talk about value orientation for us to remember what forebearers we are known for. But for government must work, and government works through institutions, strong ones.
I'll tell you what I said that, sorry to butt in there. You know, it became a point when we started glorifying wealth from any means. We made songs out of them, and at all, it became a norm. People look the other way when conversations like fraud come up. You know why? Because they believe that nobody's getting hurt. But you know the amount of people who commit suicide because they have been defrauded of everything they ever worked for all their lives. They have entered the banking hall, and I've seen old people crying foul, screaming their heads off because everything they were paid for, their pensions and gratuities, were taken away by some G-boys. And these G-boys come back to our societies and they are celebrated. And that's why when you talk about taking away value reorientation, I beg to sort of disagree, because and when the society that makes these people that are supposed to run the institutions is a total mess, what do you have?
I'm looking at it from a different perspective. And let's be honest. I know some of these people who are on this protest, Ghana committed more of this atrocious crime in Nigeria when they were here, but Nigerian government did not prescribe them.
Let's not compare wrongs.
No, I'm not comparing any wrong. We have to really educate the people. We are not here to sermonize. If I want to receive sermon, I will go to church and get preached by any man of God I choose. We are here to educate the people, not try to build morality here or moral compass here. That's not what we're here. And then remember, government functions through its organs and then through its institutions. Just like I said, most of these people you see on protests with this placard, many of them are Gen Z, or possibly the millennials or Gen Y. When we talk about different generations, like Gen Zs, those who were born from 1997 to 2009, and maybe probably those who were born from 1981 down to 1996, they are called millennials or Gen Y. They may not understand some historical facts about Nigeria relationship with Ghana. I'm aware, Ghana of all people, if Nigeria or Nigerians pull their businesses from Ghana, I bet you Ghana economy will collapse. Put me anywhere, and I will give you facts and figure. So it's not about chasing these people away. Leave Ghana, leave Ghana. If they leave your country with their businesses, with what they bring in, your GDP will collapse. You are what you are before the African Union or whoever, based on what impact Nigerians, especially the Igbos, their own impact. Let's be real. I'm aware this whole thing started in 1969 when Ghana expelled many foreigners. They call it Alliance Compliance Order. That was what happened in 1969. The Ghanaian government under Prime Minister Kofi Abreba Busia issued the Alliance Compliance Order, where many African migrants, about 1 million of them, including Nigeria. In fact, Nigeria had over 1 million in those expelled, accusing them of staying and taking Ghanaian jobs. That was what happened in 1969. And it strained Nigeria-Ghana relationship, and many Nigerians felt humiliated and remembered this for many years. And what happened in the 1980s? Ghana had a turbulent time. The economy collapsed, and quite a lot happened. And many of them flew to Nigeria for greener pastures. I am aware that what happened to them around their period, hyperinflation, drought, food shortages, and military instability, under likes of their military leaders, Jerry Lawrence, many of them, they didn't even go to Togo. They didn't even go to Benin Republic. They trooped to Nigeria. In fact, when we were growing up, we know very well that many Ghanaians were doing mixing work, doing bricklayer work, doing tailoring work. Many of them, we saw them when we were growing up, and we accommodated them. And some of them were committing some of these things we are being talked about, kidnapping, criminalities, and all that. It is a failure of institution. If an institution works, anybody, crime has no religion.
So what you're
crime
saying
has
is,
no tribe.
What you're saying is there are institutions over there need to check these things against the way
that is it. Crime has no tribe. Crime has no religion. A criminal is a criminal, irrespective of. You don't try to tag a group and call them criminals. In your own Ghana, I know many of their tribes. Many of them, are they better off? So the point is, they should be pressuring their government to wake up. Remember, even when Nigeria in 1983, when they did exactly what they did to us in 1969, Ghana must go. That was when the government of Shehu Shagari deported so many of them. That was the deportation period, where Nigeria expelled over 1 million undocumented West African migrants, especially and mostly the Ghanaians. So remember, there had been some kind of relationship that after the whole thing, it improved. So Ghana economy just stabilized. That was around 1992 when they had a return from, when democracy returned to that very country, and businesses and educational migration between both countries increased in both cases, where many of them started going back and all that. But Obasanjo, between 2000 and 2005, supported them with a lot of things.
Okay.
He gave them concessionary crude oil for them to also stabilize the economy. I can list, in fact, if you go to Ghana, ask me, is there any Ghanaian conglomerate in Nigeria? You have PZ, you have Nigerian Brewery, you have Z. Most of our banks, they are all in Ghana.
Okay,
how many Ghanaian banks do you have here?
Hold on
so
to that thought.
If Nigeria pulled from Ghana, Ghana will collapse, especially the Igbos.
Franklin, I'd like to know what you think, but we quickly need to attend to some commercials. We'll be right back.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM, seriously authentic.
Good news and welcome to Winners Global Estate, Heaven in Ogwashuku and Nyocha local government area, Asaba, Delta State. Home sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, mamas and papas, Winners Global Estate is here with their special promo package for real winners. Don't miss out in this laudable promo 2025, Heaven on Earth.
Buy, build, live, work, and enjoy. Unlock your dream home of reality. Winners Global Estate is selling fast. 3.5 million, 50 by 100. No more 7 million. Promo price. For booking and more information, please call
081-6440-4098 or 080-3744-3787. Winners Global Estate. Your security is assured.
Winners and Winners Global Estate. Quality bread. Wendy's bread. For your family breakfast. Wendy's bread. How about you trying to yellow? When this bread, mama, papa, they like when this bread, not you trying to do. When this bread, even children, they like when this bread, when this bread, Linta. When this bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. When this bread, when this yo, but you chama. When this bread, the champion.
Wendy's Bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's Bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's Bread.
Anambra Patriots for Soludo. Ndanambra gakwana ntio unu ekwekwene ka ewere unu wee gbochie ọrụ ọma Chukwu na Chichazi Soludo wee na-arụ na Anambra steeti. Unu makwa na anyụkọ mamịrị ọnụ ọkpụ ụfụfụ. Ngwa bịakọtanụ n'igwe ka anyị kwado nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Chukwu ma Chichazi Soludo. Unu afụghị ihe niile ọ na-eme na mbara dị iche iche site na Anambra North, South to Central. Na-ekwu okporo ụzọ niile nke ọrụgo, na-ekwu ụlọ akwụkwọ nke ọ na-emepe, na-ekwu hospital nke ọrụgo. Unu afụgono ka ụmụ nwaanyị anyị si wee na-amụ nwa n'udo free of charge. Ụmụ akwụkwọ wee na-agụ akwụkwọ n'efu. Ihe a niile ya na ihe ndị ọzọ ka Chukwu ma Chichazi Soludo na-eme na Anambra steeti. A na-ekuzi maka New Government House nke kwuru okwu ya kemgbe 1991, ya bụ 34 years na ya na Soludo arụgharịghị ya. Kedu maka New Solution Fund City? Nwanne m Soludo nọ n'ọrụ. Ndị Anambra ọrụ ọma ama nkwụkwọ agụ bịanụ n'igwe ka anyị kwado nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Chukwu ma Chichazi Soludo. Anambra Patriots for Soludo.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
If you just joined us, this is the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Chisom is here, Franklin is here, and Tony Mbeki is here as well. Franklin, before we went on that break, Tony thinks that it is a problem with institutions in Ghana and they should rather hold their institutions responsible. What says you?
Okay, so let's go this very well because I want to just start from where Tony stopped because this very strange relationship between Nigeria and Ghana is as old as Methuselah, just like he highlighted. And before this very current incident we are talking about now, if you cast your mind back to 2019-2020, you know that there was a time we also had a similar thing then. Then, you know, there were protests against Nigerians in Ghana, and it occurred at different times. And mainly, the main issue why they were protesting them was economic issues, security, and immigration issues. Those were the issues as of that very moment. Now, what were the things that fueled that very protest then? It was about tension over trade and business ownership. You can recall then that Ghanaian traders then, especially those who are in the market, you know, they accuse Nigerians of violating. There's one Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act, which they accuse Nigerians of violating as of that very time. And that very act was talking about, you know, some exclusive reserves for some kind of petty trading meant for Ghanaians. But they were saying that Nigerians were coming to take over those tradings. Now, at that same time too, many Nigerians were running, you know, some kind of retail shops, and Ghanaian traders were feeling that they were being pushed out of business. And these were some of the reasons why they went about that very protest. During that very time, there was closure of hundreds of Nigerian-owned shops by Ghanaian authorities, and that sparked protests from, you know, Nigerians who were in Ghana at that very time. Then the issue of perceived security concern, just like we're having now. Some crimes in Ghana then were said to be crimes being committed by Nigerian nationals. The issue of robbery and the fraud, they were attributed to Nigerians. But we know that, just like Tony said, in any country you go, crime does not know any nationality. You can have a number of Nigerians involved in that very crime. That does not mean that all Nigerians are involved in crime. Then the issue of immigration and residency issue also came up that very moment. I'm talking about that 2019 to 2020. Then, Ghanaian authorities tried to intensify immigration checks, and the result was that some Nigerians were arrested and deported. And those ones who were arrested and deported, they were undocumented Nigerians. And guess what happened? Nigerians protested saying that, they were being harassed and they were being targeted. And since then, we have known that there has been this diplomatic tension between Nigeria and Ghana. And that has reflected even in other spheres of life. Today, talk about football. There's this very rivalry between Nigeria and Ghana that whenever we have match against Ghana, it's like a tug of war. It has even crossed over to food. That today we debate about who owns the best jollof rice, whether it's Ghana or Nigeria. Now let's not come back to this recent incident, because why Ghanaians were protesting against Nigerians is because of the issue also tied to criminality. They said that Nigerians are getting involved in prostitution. They're getting involved in things that are not norms.
Counterfeiting of their currency,
in that very country.
money laundering, and all of that.
Moral decay, economic dominance too is also surfacing, because this is one of the issues that have been there for quite a while. Now, their concerns are the issue of crime and security fear. They're saying Nigerians are getting involved in kidnapping, ritual murdering, armed robbery, prostitution, and what have you not. And they said we want them to leave. Then there is this very cultural and economic threat, which we know. Now, they are saying that there are some Nigerians who are trying to exert authority in market. They are claiming land ownership in certain places, which they do not think that they have the right. Now, let's now come back to we the Igbos. Tony, you can recall that should be about July 15. Council of Traditional Rest Council of Traditional Rest in the Southeast. They say that, in fact, they gave an order that Igbos in diaspora should stop doing this as an Igbo in so and so place.
It was also mentioned in that.
So they said they can decide to maybe onion do or something like that. And we know that some of these persons who bear these very nomenclatures in diaspora, they didn't find it very funny. Ghanaians also mentioned it as one of the reasons why they were protesting. And they are saying, you don't come to our land and you begin to do all these things. Then we also have the social media amplification on the other side. Now, where am I driving to? Where I'm driving to is this. We know that there's no country that can be an island. No country exists on its own. And as long as there is economic activities going in that very country, you are going to see nationals from other countries coming to that very country because but what we are saying is this. Nigerians have the right to do business there, but while you do your business there, the rules and regulations, the norms of the country, you should abide by that. Then for the Ghanaian authority, you cannot paint the entire country or entire race black because a couple of persons are involved in illegality or a couple of persons are involved in what is not intended with the norms of that very country. What you need to do is to, put up your satellites and ensure that those ones who get involved in all these crimes are arrested. Here in Nigeria, we have Nigerians who are in Nigeria doing evil. So now, can we not say that all Nigerians should go and they are all evil? We also have even Chinese who are in this country mining gold illegally in Adamawa, in Nasarawa State. So can we not say? So the thing
not
is,
just Chinese people. People from any part of the world can go anywhere
exactly.
and do anything wrong.
So the thing is for Ghanaian authorities to see how they can liaise with Nigerian authority and see how they can work things out. I understand that the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianco Joku, is already in Ghana, trying to meet with the Ghanaian authority for them to see how they can iron out what happened. So we're hoping that they should be able to find a middle way to solve this very diplomatic issue. Nigerians in Ghana, they need Ghana. Ghana needs them.
But then, do you in any way think that there is possibly something wrong somewhere in the value orientation system? Probably not just in the Southeast, probably not just in Nigeria, but across different societies of the world that needs to be addressed while the authorities do their thing as well.
I don't know if you read that very book titled "The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born."
Yeah.
By Ayekweama, which was like a satire of Ghanaian society then. That was a time Ghanaian society was in a mess. But the likes of J. Lawrence, when they came into power, they did a whole lot to change things in that very country. And to some reasonable extent, things change. In fact, when we talk with Nigerians in Ghana, they'll tell you the kind of difference in the life you live there and the life we live here in Nigeria. Like I said, How do I mean? There's no way we can say that there is no evil being done by some Nigerians in Ghana. We cannot say that. In every 12 there must be a Judas. That is certain. But what we are saying is, in as much as that could be obtainable, it's not enough for you to say that the entire Nigerians should leave that country or condemn the entire Igbo race because a few persons have decided to dent their image, not the image of the race.
I think most times, I just like I said earlier on, there's no need sermonizing. Government should work, and if we want to talk about value orientation or orientation, we bring in the community leaders, and also to do justice to that. And I'm concerned that if you come to Ghana, Igbos dominate their electronics and mobile accessory market. Igbos dominate their auto parts, spare parts market. Igbos dominate importation and wholesale trade in Ghana. Igbos dominate their building materials market in Ghana. Cosmetic and also hair care, Igbos dominate that very market. Retail stores and provision shops, Igbos dominate that market in Ghana. And also when you talk about furniture, Igbos dominate that very market in Ghana. And then when you talk about Nigerian cuisine and food supply, Igbos dominate that in Ghana. So when I say if Igbos leave Ghana, I'm not talking about Nigerians again, because one of the women there was singular or was particular about that. So it would shake Ghana. But the point I have always maintained is this: there is institutions that should work and then ensure that criminals, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of language, irrespective of creed, will be subjected to the laws of the land. The same area, because when you are talking about Igbos doing this in Ghana or doing that in Ghana, was it not sometime somewhere in North Carolina that the government there declared a public holiday for Igbos for the investment they have brought, for development they have brought, and for the nature of progress they have brought to a state like North Carolina? And not just North Carolina, there is also a Minnesota. In Minnesota, it was also observed. So you can understand that there are some of these states that recognize the impact. It doesn't mean that if you come to North Carolina, you wouldn't see an Igbo man who is engaged in one crime or the other. You will see. But government, they have institutions. These institutions go after those people who are for these crimes. But for those who are bringing investment, who are bringing progress, development, the state also reward them. Has Ghanaian authorities, in fact, if they should know what they should do, they should reward Igbos for massive investment they have brought. The institutions should take care of those who are criminals amongst them. But then the state, as North Carolina, Minnesota, and other places in the world have done, trying to recognize the massive investment. You can imagine just a tribe dominating major markets, your major market. And I must say this because I'm aware that if you come to different regions in Ghana, the Ashanti area, the Fata area, there's so many of these regions. If you go there, you talked about the issue of Ezendibo and all that. And then whether the nomenclature, the law, you don't proclaim the law. They have assembly, they have state assembly. The country has assembly. They can always make their laws and decide what they have. These people protesting, they have representatives. They can also protest before their national assembly and tell the representatives what they want. Okay. They can codify it as part of law. If the law says there should be no Ezendibo, it should stop henceforth. It's not for you to start, just like you said, jollof rice rivalry. You should be rivaling Togo, Benin Republic. Nigeria is not your mate. Nigeria is not your mate. How many are you? About 20 million people.
But Tony, I don't think you also doing that very well, because you talk about Nigeria not being our mate. The thing is, you just mentioned Togo. If you go to Togo,
yes,
and they see the kind of thing they have achieved, and then you see the kind of infrastructure, see the kind of electricity they have achieved, then you ask yourself,
are they really not our mates? Are they not even our senior giant of Africa? Right?
Yes,
they are small countries. But if you cannot handle the small things, what do you do with the big things?
That is the point I'm trying to make. Ghana has an institutional problem. There's no doubt. Nigeria has worst when it comes to institutional problems. Everybody is trying to manage its own affairs, but trying to link it to an external country to be the reason why you are falling is just like Nigeria trying to link any country to be the reason why it's falling. We are falling based on our own making, not by anybody. Even if like Nigerians,
let me add something here.
Come with what they call that, bandit group, Lukarawa, and all that. So you blame them. You blame the Malians, you blame the Nigerians for
But once upon a time, we blame them.
We blame our institution.
We need to round off on
the
this
most important thing, what happens to your border,
what
happens to immigration, what happens to everything. Blame yourself. We must blame ourselves for our own woes.
I do not think that Ghanaians are saying that the country is going backward because of Nigerians. Now, look at this. There's one video I watched of Nigerians in China. And their leader in China came out to make a video warning our people coming to China, if you come to China, focus on business.
Respect yourself.
Don't get involved in courtesan. Don't get involved in rivalry. Don't get involved in street fight. See, let's be honest. We can't claim ignorance of the fact that there are some Nigerians who will go to another man's country and they want to become more national than the national.
We agree. We agree.
So what you're saying is, you are free to go to any country, do your business in accordance with the law.
And if you fail to do that, let the institution take charge. Okay. Not you going on the street. If you fail to do that, there are many Nigerians in China. How many Nigerians in Ghana? Over 2 million Nigerians in Ghana. But there are more million Nigerians in China. Have you seen protests in China? Because the institution there is working. Chinese institutions are working. If you go to any foreign land, abide by their laws. Where you fail, let the institution take charge of it. It's not by you going to the street to do all this manner of things. Okay. So we must get it right. Okay. That is it.
I think that's quite clear. Perspectives have been given, and of course, we'll give you room to say what you want to say. The phone lines are blowing up, but we're not yet there. Give us a few more minutes, because up north the conversation is heating up concerning Mr. President's supposed scorecard concerning the north, and of course 2027 in perspective. Tony, do you see the north swinging the pendulum to another side come 2027, because they have adjudged Mr. President to have abandoned them?
We said it many times. Those who are accusing Mr. President are those who are in ADC. And those Northerners who are in APC, they are not accusing Mr. President. So you look at it, the North seems to be divided. You have those of them in ADC accusing Mr. President of abandoning North. You have those of them in APC saying Mr. President has done massively for the North. I have said here that the only region totally, roundly, overwhelmingly marginalized is the Southeast. Our leaders are not talking. You can't see any of our leader either in ADC or in PDP or in APC coming out boldly to say we are marginalized. I listed quite a lot of projects Mr. President is executing over there in the North. When we started, I listed so many of them. Do you know what it means? 120 billion naira worth of abattoir with ultra modern clinics and everything, even schools, houses and everything going on in Gombe State, where Mr. President has released 60 billion naira already, and I list a number of dual carriageways and also light rail system, Kaduna, Kano. I listed so many of these projects. How many of these projects are going on in Southeast? That's the question, and we are not talking. Look at the North. Probably they did not get a level of appointment they had during the time of Buhari. How many appointments we in the Southeast, how many of them did we have from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? And yet we pretend that all is well. So if at all there is a need for cry of marginalization, it should be the Southeast that should be making that cry, not the North. They had it so long under 8 years of Buhari's administration, and probably many of them have been shut out. Not necessary projects are not going there, not necessarily, but the key thing is that many of them felt that they were wrongly excluded, likes of El-Rufai and his cohorts, and then even the Babakim Ahmed, who had thought that he would become a minister. Probably he was given a kind of a role to the office of the vice president. So you can look at their parochial interest. Yes, good number of them, they have this command, they have this influence, they have this control over their brothers, but they have been chanting that there is hunger in the North. During the time of Buhari, was there no hunger in the North?
Okay,
there was still hunger there.
Let's stretch the conversation a bit further, all right, to accommodate other interests like the likes of Feni Ferrer, the likes of MBF, that's the Middle Belt Forum, who think that the presidency should remain with the South up until 2031. I am curious to find out if interests like this, also backed by the likes of Georgia Kume, would affect the chances of the likes of Atiku Abubakar come 2027. And also, do you think that, say, Atiku is willing to reason in that direction and possibly give a person of southern extraction a chance on the platform of the ADC to wrestle power with the president on the platform of the APC come 2027?
Look at the calculation now. They not believe that it can make a president on his own without the support of any other region. On the condition that Obi and Tinubu runs, they believe with Obi and Tinubu, their votes will be divided. Now, giving the North the leverage for the first time in the history of Nigeria to make a president without any handshake across. That is the calculation. And that is what Atiku is banking on. Let Obi come out. Let Tinubu come out. They will divide southern votes, where he will leverage more on the northern votes to become the president without the support of any region. But how that pans out is also...
Okay, because I was just coming to ask, because the issue of Nigeria, for you to become the president, is not just a mere simple majority.
That is it.
You must meet other thresholds.
There must be spread. And for them, 25% in the remaining 24, because definitely we must have a simple majority win, and then 25% in 24 states. So they believe that to get a 25% without necessarily having a majority there is something that is very possible. I've not seen a president of Nigeria declared without such spread. When we had that was during the time of Awolowo and then Chewu Chegare, period where we are talking about the number of states and then the constitutional interpretation by the then Supreme Court. But that is by the way. So the key issue now is Tinubu is consolidating in the North, and he has quite a number of Northerners working for him. And yes, they have the sympathy of their brother Atiku Abubakar. And just like we have all agreed that after Buhari, Atiku is the next person who has such influence and control in the North. Now, he needs a region in the South. But they are guessing, calculating situation where he fails to get that region. Tinubu and Obi may divide the vote. And remember, Atiku won massively last time. Most of the states he won was in the North. Most of the states he won Borodu, even the state where Vice President Kachim Chatima is from. He won Adamawa. He won so many of these states. So they are banking on his achievement in the last election, believing that he will even leapfrog such achievement. But the president has many Northerners to his grip, and if you look around, he's trying to accommodate the Christian North. Remember, in the last election, the Christian North did not vote majorly for APC. They did not. But now look at what Mr. President is trying to simulate, trying to bring a Christian North in the person of Yowagda, who is now the APC national chairman, trying to placate them. But I understand, Baba Shelawa, some of his political calculation projections have always come not. It made us believe that this would happen. But we remember, Mr. President has the power and the prerogative to appoint INEC chairman. I have mentioned it many times, and there will be many INEC national commissioners that will be retiring, and maybe by completing their term, and Mr. President will have the ample opportunity to appoint so many of them. So you position things for himself. They all still favor Mr. President. The region roundly, overwhelmingly marginalized is the Southeast.
All right, then let's quickly look at this headline before we open up the phone lines. Nurses are shunning talks with the federal government to begin warning strike today. They are under the umbrella of National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives Federal Health Institutions sector. They've insisted on their planned 7-day warning strike, which will begin today. A report says patients have been discharged, and we know how badly the health sector in Nigeria is faring. With a development like this, we know that a lot of lives are going to be affected, especially, sadly so, poor Nigerians who cannot afford private health care. And so I am wondering, Tony, among the demands they have made, they are talking about an upward review of shift allowance, a uniform allowance adjustment, a separate salary structure for nurses, increased core duty allowance, mass employment of nurses, and the establishment of a nursing department in the Federal Ministry of Health, among other departments. What says you?
I think we must take their demands very serious. We must take them. And they have been, over the years, neglected. Many of them, they are paid peanuts. Many of our nurses, and we know the works they do. and then the doctors and medical doctors cannot function without the support of these nurses. So the government under the Ministry of Health, Alipate, should look inwards. I'm aware, in fact, for me, a 200% upward review of all the allowances like shift duty, call duty, specialist, clinical, rural posting, teaching allowances to reflect current realities. I'm totally in support. But government can negotiate. I'm totally in support. And also the proper implementation of shift allowance, which is currently about 8.6%, but they are demanding 30%. And call duty allowance aligned with basic salary. Look at what their counterparts are being paid out there in UK, in Rwanda, in South Africa, even not in Ghana. Well, because they are not paid well in Ghana. Not in Ghana. No, but that's true. They are not in Ghana. But I can also say in Togo. So I think the most important thing is the fact that we need to upgrade our schools. We have been exporting nurses to the world, just as the way we've been exporting medical doctors to the world. We are not exporting to Ghana, because Ghana and Nigeria, there is no difference. In a way, you may say they are better than us in one way or the other, but there are places we're also better than them. So if you watch, we have been one of the highest exporters of medical doctors or medical practitioners to the world. As you can see, the ones we've exported to Canada, UK, and so many of these places. Not in Ghana, we can't export to Ghana. Okay. But it's important to understand these things.
I see what you do there.
I'm concerned that yes, government should look inwards, even centralize their internship placement. It's important that government should ensure establishment of a fair and centralized posting system for newly qualified graduate nurses nationwide. I'm in support. So I've always valued their services, the nurses. I've always valued them. We have many of our young girls, instead of being on the street, instead of being messing around it, many of them have acquired career in that very profession. We must do something about it. We must. If we have the population, we can as well export nurses to the world. And many of them make remittances. Do you know how much Nigerians in Ghana remit yearly?
In tax?
I'm not talking about tax. I'm talking about foreign remittances.
Oh, but back home?
Back home.
Okay.
They remit about 19% of Ghana GDP. Back home, yearly. When they see, that tells you Nigerians hold the Ghanaian economy. Apart from real estate, which the Ghanas, they have the dominance there. I can point few of the sectors they have this in.
Holding the economy doesn't mean you should mess up the system.
Let the institution work.
For the want of a better word, institutions are not working here either.
Yes.
So we live in a glass house. We cannot go about throwing stones.
Let me ask you something.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
We live in a glass house. We cannot go about throwing stones. What we say is, if you go to Rome, behave like the Romans. Our people will say Tezenayule. We have a lot of bad record in different parts of the world, and ghosts are not the ones putting this.
Let me ask you something. In the case of South Africa, there is xenophobic.
What about the case of other parts of the world?
Which other parts of the world are you mentioning?
What are you not saying? See, you see drug records from places like Malaysia.
It's just like Trump. What is going on between Mexico and America? Trump is trying to tell the Mexican authorities, the woman who is the president of the Mexico, Trump was trying to call out Mexicans as being behind the drugs malady in US. Do you know what the woman responded, Trump? Your country is also behind this issue of gun running, gun manufacturing. See, and then the Mexicans cheered the woman.
So it's a case of call me out.
Let me tell you something. Every country has its own share of this problem.
So the ADC had a NEC meeting yesterday where we are about to leave that behind. We need to quickly attend to a commercial. But ADC had a NEC meeting yesterday. Formal handovers were done, but Ralph Wofu made would I call it a damning revelation? He said he's been offered 3 ministerial slots to reject the coalition. That has eventually become anyways. But, signaling possibly that there are forces from somewhere willing to disrupt even the inception of the ADC.
That tells you what APC is cooking. In fact, the language, the slang is APC is cooking something. And what is that they are cooking? Mark was saying he has been offered indirectly 3 ministerial slots to drop this coalition of a thing. Who offered him? It could be for him to come out to say something like this. He's somebody that cannot just talk anyhow. But as by the way, so it now tells you more about APC having hand in Labour, having hand in PDP. PDP, they have taken over. Labour, they're almost taken over. So now what they try to do is to ensure that even when they say we don't want one party system, but in action you prefer a system of one party whereby President Bola Tinubu becomes a consensus candidate amongst different political parties. That's what they are aiming. But the parties have been trying to find out and then nip the whole thing in the bud, saying that in as much you preach multi-party system, but your actions resemble one-party system where you want a consensus. But the truth remains that it's not going to be possible in a state or country like Nigeria having a one-party. It's not going to be possible. Just like when you preach Islamization, it's not possible.
Okay,
it's
we
not
attend
possible.
to a commercial. We open up the phone lines in just a bit. Do stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
AFM. We give you more than properties. We give you opportunities. From Nkwele to Umuya, Auka to Umweri, from Oba to Agleri, Mbako to Oji River, from Emene to Asaba, Aba to Abuja, Lagos to Imo. AFF is planning possibilities in over 20 states across Nigeria with free inspection. We are in Alkanai table water, purity in every drop. We are in wine, the refreshment for your soul. Get 5% interest in just 3 months or grow it to 20% in 1 year. No story, just favor.
You register with Obelego. I get just one plot of land in
AFF Landport Global Estate Limited, where favor meets opportunity. Visit our physical office at number 56 Tony Ume Street, Awada, or call us now on 070-6567-6913. AFF Ujane Mogo.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Get involved on Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Drop your comment right there. You can put a call across to 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. You have 2 minutes. Be as objective as possible. Please turn on the volume on your radio set and go straight to the point. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel calling from Onitsha.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Tourism Big.
You're welcome, my brother.
I'm Emmanuel calling from Onitsha. Well, I want to lay my voice on this Ghana issue. Look, Tourism Big have said it on. I don't know, so I know that is your job. But exactly what Tourism Big says is exactly what I'm saying. Ghana, I don't think Ghana and Nigeria they don't have shame at all. How can somebody blaming another country? Like now, Nigeria will start blaming our former president Buhari say it's India that causing the whole thing that is happening in Nigeria. Hello? Go and make your place better. Let your institution be strong. Go to you are talking about Ghana. You know, if you go to Dubai, the people in Dubai can get population of Ghana as a whole. What of China? All of them are in UAE. Can you talk of South Africa? Have you been in Spain? And she was there. China. Because these people get there, the institution is very strong. Anything you do, you commit that place. You have to get it wrong by yourself. Not to complain and shout to mention one tribe name. As if because you don't have a strong institution. Look, they don't know what they do. If you go to Ghana, the whole market in Ghana, those just like go to Kumasi, Accra, you must dominate that place. How can you sell them out? If you sell them out, Ghana will be like desert. Go and fish out the people that are doing something. Not according to the social media and shouting. In fact, the Ghana government don't have shame. Allowing those people to come to tell me
right then. Thank you for your contribution. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Chisom.
Good morning.
Good morning, Frank and Olisa Mbeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
This is Mr. calling from Onitsha.
Go ahead.
You see, the issue of Ghana, telling Igbos to go from Ghana. I'm aware, and I grew up, I saw Ghana people working, doing a lot of work here. And I want to use this opportunity to say Ghanaians that this prostitution Igbos are doing in Ghana, they are the ones that taught us. Because in many hotels like Sala Hotel or Mokachie, Dotry Hotel, I can start naming them. We cannot go here. I saw Ghana people dominated them, both men and females, doing all kinds of prostitution work here in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we did not see them, we did not pursue them, we did not prescribe them, but now they have started calling Igbos in Ghana. The frontline hotel here, dominated by Ghana. I saw them with my eyes. I'm not a small boy, I'm not a kid. I saw Ghanaians here doing all manner of jobs, taking jobs, prostitution, stealing, thieves. I saw them in Oboko, in Awada, tell Ghanaians to relax. If we have to move from Ghana, Ghana will fall, so that they go back to where they are coming from. Thank you.
All right then. A lot of argument coming up from this particular one. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Badmos from Onewi.
Go ahead, Badmus.
Good. You people should read between the lines. The Ghanaians are not telling Nigerians to go, but they have stereotyped it to a particular ethnic group. You understand? And have you asked yourself, since all this bohaha was going on, have you heard any statement from the Nigerian government trying to advise or clarify or even to condemn?
Hello, Badmos.
Yeah.
Let's not play ethnic card here. I even
No,
mentioned.
no.
Hold on. I even mentioned that. I mentioned that NIDCOM has reacted.
Ojukwu is already in Ghana.
And the Minister for Foreign Affairs for State is already in Ghana. And you are still bringing this very narrative.
Okay. Now, let me tell you, before a country or a citizen of a country starts stereotyping, had it been they did it the way South Africans did it, Nigerians must go. Then we will understand it in a plain language. But for them to say that Igbos must go, that means that there are Nigerians who are telling them that these are the people that are doing this, these are the people that are doing this.
But Badmos, can I butt in there a bit? Because you're still playing this ethnic card.
Yeah.
So you say there are some Nigerians telling them this,
Yes,
but
the
to Nigeria,
Yoruba.
please give me a second.
Yeah.
Let's not call out any tribe
Sure,
here, please.
sure.
I always say this platform is for only objective contribution. So please let's stay within the ambits of that.
Exactly.
Now I did say something earlier. Franklin pointed out the whole idea of SND Bodis, SND Bonebewa, Ebendi Zendi Bonebewa. Now, if they find it offensive, they feel like this is you coming to territorize or claim sort of ownership of a part of their place, even if you pay to own these places. Don't you think that even if you pay, you acquire the properties involved in terms of real estate, and these people are finding a problem with it and are starting to foment trouble? Do you still pin this on Yorubas or other people from Nigeria when you are the ones giving yourselves these names and acting on them?
Let me tell you, the word SND is not a Ghanaian language. It's not an English language. It's an Igbo language.
And it's not Yorubas that will not interpret it for them.
Me.
Do Yorubas speak Igbo?
Allow me to talk. Let me tell you. Igbo, SND Igbo is not a Ghanaian language. It's an Igbo language. So, anybody saying that because you call yourself SND Igbo, is it a Ghanaian language?
Is it a Yoruba language?
Is it a Yoruba language? So, why do you feel offensive? When someone answers Sariki or Sultan, do we feel offensive? It's not our language. We don't know what you're talking about. So, who told them? Who told them that these people are the one doing this? We are not. They did it in South Africa. These same people, they did it in South Africa. You understand? So, let me tell you something. Before Ghanaians now know that there are Igbos, there are Yorubas, there are Hausas in Nigeria. This is how these people behave. There are Nigerians that are telling them that. That's what I'm telling you. They can't just come out and say that Igbos will go. It is very dangerous. That's how, because there are Nigerians who are telling them that the people that are doing this are these people.
That would be
so that's what I want to say. Now, let me go to the politics, the north. I want to ask Tony.
All right,
but must we are totally out of time.
Yes, okay.
Let's give other people a chance to air their opinions. All right, you have 2 minutes. Please be as objective as possible, and please, for the love of God, this is not a platform to preach ethnic bias of any form. No matter how much you try to downplay it, we will sniff it out. And I am sorry, may have to let you go before you conclude on your points. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Chidi Chukuma reaching you from board this morning.
Go ahead, please.
And very good morning to you, Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki.
You're welcome.
And Franklin. Yeah. Let me speak on the Ghana. Yes, what is going on, the protest that is going on. Yes, it is quite unfortunate that we are seeing ourselves in this situation. And the lesson we're supposed to learn is that no condition is permanent in this world. And like Ghanaians are supposed to learn this lesson from that Nigerian experience. Yeah. They must remember that a friend in need is a friend indeed. Nigeria remained a friend of Ghana when they were in so many crises, economic crisis. We accommodated, especially the Southeasterners, because this is where they are in number, and they engage in different occupations. They occupy different spaces here in Southeast. During that time, there is nothing like a nightlife here in Southeast. When it is 8 p.m., everybody has retired to the state of Ghana. They came here and changed our lifestyle. This entertainment industry, music, and so on and so everything. They occupy different spaces in Nigeria. The wealth they make in Nigeria, most of them in music industry and other areas. Even when they return to Ghana, the government of Ghana told them that no individual can have such assets, that they have to donate some of them to the state. They can't remember all those things. Even this prostitution, they are the ones that introduced it in Southeast and different parts of Nigeria. This is where they were so accommodated here in the Southeast. I don't know why. This thing, I'm praying that it will not generate into serious crisis, so that so many, maybe the life will be lost and the property. Because of the reason why they are mentioning Igbo is because we occupy different places, just as Dr. Tony Osambiki has narrated. And that is then, they are so busy here doing legitimate, during their own time here. I remember different crises they are into it, prostitution, stealing, and so on and so forth. The Ghanaians, if you see their lifestyle at that time, it's just as if they are even smarter than us. I don't know why they are doing this thing. They're supposed to learn lesson. What of tomorrow? You are measuring height with somebody that is so far behind, so high above you. What of tomorrow? When situation turn around, where will you go? Good morning.
All right. Good morning. 08032216973, 08038276694. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, my dear, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. Okay. I am sorry. You'd need to reconnect. Apologies for that. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Morning. John calling from Olo.
Go ahead, John.
Yes. My friend Badmos was trying to put across a message. Maybe he wasn't allowed to land. It is not a question of some Nigerians somewhere telling the people in Ghana or the world that Hindi were bad. It is a question of we are telling the whole world. One of the governors in Nigeria of Igbo extraction went to a global forum to tell the whole world that 99% of the crimes committed in his state are by individuals of the state. And if you extrapolate it mathematically, it means that 99% of the crimes committed in Igbo land are by the indigenous. So we shouldn't be pointing fingers at the Fulani. And then globally again, in mathematics, you can extrapolate it to mean that in America, where they have stopped this so many things against the blacks, it has this Igbo content. It is because somebody like a governor is number one person, a person of integrity, and whatever comes from him could be used as a material to act. So the xenophobia in South Africa, in America, in Ghana is traceable to what we have done to ourselves. Some of us do not talk with civility and decorum. They just open their mouth, in spite of the fact that they may be very scholars or whatever. I don't want to take much of your time. I'm really so sad at what is happening to Igbo. Thank you.
All right then. Let's hear what you have to say. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning, everybody in the house.
Go ahead, please.
It's me, Bill Dennis, calling from football.
Go ahead.
I had everything this morning. Igbos are beginning to turn as endangered species all over the world. But this is called African mentality. I had Tony talking about Minnesota and the North Carolina in America. Only the whites know our value. Igbos are wonderful people. But our hosts, they are seeing us as people that want to overthrow them. But if the Ghanaians and their government can look deep, they will see that we are the people that develop most of these industries. You understand? In the automobile, in the fabric industry, it's Igbos. In the retail sector, it's Igbos. All over Ghana. You understand? So, but the truth is about that we are overdoing things. That is the truth. Our people should determine that you are just a stranger in that land. You know.
Your network is messy. I'm sorry I have to let you go. You may need to move around and try to reconnect again. Good morning. Are you there? Yes, good morning. Go straight to the point, please.
Good morning, my speaker, Tony Mbeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Good morning, Franklin and Chisom.
Go ahead.
This is the voice of Honorable Ignacio Sokoye from our Czech Kingdom. I'm calling you from name now. You see, what is happening in Ghana is nothing but enviousness against Igbo people. I'm telling you honestly truth. Any progress group of people attract enviousness. It happened to us, Igbo people in South Africa. In all countries. And sometimes our people are the contributor of that thing. The way they live, the lifestyle they live there. And knowing fully well that they are in another vast country, if God bless you with money, you expect that money so much that the people will be against you. That's the problem in Ghana. Not that people will go because they enjoy our people. It happens in many places, even in Nigeria here. In Cross River State, where I live for years, they come, they enjoy Igbo because the God talented gift he gave us. Wealth is in our hands. That's the truth here. And the federal government will do everything to see that that will stop. And if they don't do it, Ghana cannot survive without Nigeria. I'm telling you honestly, that's the truth. Coming to what about Tinubu, the Northerners. The truth here is that now, Northerners, the government of Southerners, any Southerners that came because a president of the country, somebody Northerners more than their area. It happened during the Goodluck Jonathan. The same thing with the Abasinjo. This was the same thing. This man, it was them. The people that are marginalized are we, the Southerners. That is South. But the Northerners, what I have against the Tinubu government is economic meltdown and insecurity. So suffering that we are suffering. Apart from that, I say let it continue.
All right.
But because of we are suffering, we are crying, we are dying. The problem, not because of what the Northerners say. They will continue saying that.
All right, we have to let you go. Franklin, let's see what's happening on Facebook.
Okay, so let's see what Henry Elu has posted. He said it's pertinent we acknowledge the major circumstance that led to this recent protest. A certain Igbo man came on air and declared himself an Igbo king in Ghana and bragged of having acquired some hectares of land to create an Igbo kingdom inside Ghana. We should always learn how to respect our host community in any country we find ourselves. Most of our people's lifestyle outside Nigeria is very disgusting. Anything you can't tolerate in your community, don't do same in another's. Anybody that advised Obiano to change Abakaliki Street wasn't qualified to be an advisor because he is an embodiment of a tribal bigotry. We should be careful when appointing SAs, PAs, and political advisors. Thanks to Soludo for restoring back our Abakaliki Street. He posted from Reef Market. John Mbe says the xenophobic disposition, is this xenophobic? Okay. Disposition of the Ghana against Nibo is partly traceable to the comments made by a governor of Igbo extraction who told a global audience that 99.9% of crimes committed in the state in Nigeria is traceable to the indigenes of the state of Anambra. That's the major reason for the upsurge of xenophobia against Nibo globally. Is pathetic indeed. Some of our politicians are too loquacious as they don't talk with civility and decorum in critical issues. We're going to come back to this. Austin Mogul says, okay, he posted from FM Onitsha on what is going on in Ghana. Ghanaians chasing Igbos to leave their country. Like I wrote on this program on Monday, how we the Igbos treat our fellow Igbos here in Southeast. How one particular state in Southeast, Ebonyi State, aka Abakaliki, has been treated even when other tribes did something wrong. Some of our Igbo brothers will call the person by the name of one particular tribe. I'm still saying it. We Igbo should be careful on how we treat ourselves here in the Southeast so that other tribes, even other countries, will not told the same way to call us what we call ourselves here. And Eke Ghana says the Ghanaians are trying to touch the tail of a lion, which wouldn't be good for them in time to come, chasing Nigerians away from their country and also calling out a particular region. Let them remember that there are some Ghanaians living here in Nigeria. Norbert Uchokoye says there was an atom of truth in what Badmo said. Yoruba, okay, I'm not going to use that very word. I'm not going to use the word you use here. He's saying that, okay, and then Maazunwore Chikwadoro Osinachi says, I support Mr. Tony, what he said concerning the issue between Ghana and Nigeria. Nigerian youths, Igbos are being hated and marginalized, but I must tell everyone this morning that most atrocities happening in the world today is being piloted by our people. Let's learn to avoid unlawful and immoral activities because of money. Makechi, okay, he posted from Udala Onitsha. And Sebastian Igwe says, okay, Sebastian, I'm trying to get to your post now. I'm battling with network a bit, but let me see if I can get to that post now so that I can acknowledge your post before we get to lead this very program. Just a couple of seconds. Let's see if we can get to that very message.
Well, we are totally out of time,
Yes.
Franklin. So I think you should go ahead, Tony, probably, and react to that statement concerning what Franklin read out earlier.
I think people are being mischievous. Is what we have been trying to extrapolate here. A governor went to Igbo community. He was talking to Igbo people at Imobi, and some would say he was talking to the world. That is wrong. He was talking to his people.
No, even if Tony, even if he wasn't talking to
people,
did he lie?
No, we must put things in context. I'm a student of context. That is one. Now, he now said the 99% of people arrested under my leadership as a governor.
In Anambra.
They are Igbos.
They are profiled. We see them say where they are from in those videos.
And then we've seen the videos. And people are still blaming somebody who come out. See, he did not do the way Ghanaians are doing it now. He called a spade a spade. What do we do here? Calling a spade a spade. I must say this. It will be act of mischievousness for anybody to make such contraption. You talk to your brothers and tell ourselves the truth so that we can arrest the monster. Monster grow when you play ignorance or feign ignorance that there is a monster amongst you. Before you know it, that monster will grow to the level that it will consume you, and that is the problem we are suffering. But that is one. Then secondly, the most hated tribe in the world is the Jews. They are the most hated. Remember what happened in Germany before the Nazi era, during the Nazi era. They were hated for so many reasons. One has to do with their involvement in different businesses. They were involved in financial business, they were involved in trade, they were involved in so many things. There was a conspiracy theory known as stab in the back myth, claimed Germany didn't lose the war on quite a lot of things because that was how they unleashed the pogrom. Jews were hated in Poland, they were hated in England, they were hated in Spain, they were hated in Arab world, they were hated. Why were they so hated? Why they were hated? They, in fact, accused them of all manner of crimes, doing this, doing that. But they were just hated for mere fact of these people are being envious of them. Look at Israel today. Look at Israel today. And many people don't know the history behind the Second World War. How many of them were housed in Poland after they have been exiled from Germany. Many of them were in Germany doing quite a lot of businesses. Remember Shakespearean prose, Merchant of Venice. Remember, there's no time. I would have used certain things to tell you about the hate meted out against the Jews. And one thing you should know is that Igbos and the Jews, they have similarity, especially when it comes to their entrepreneurship, their involvement in business, in trade, in commerce, and quite a lot. And once you're involved in such kind of thing, you attract envy. But I'm not saying that all Igbos are saints. Many of them are not saints. Many of us are criminals. But we are saying that do not profile all of us as criminals. What? You have to go for the criminals and at the same time acknowledge and reward and even recognize those who have brought massive investment in your own home country, as we saw in North Carolina, as we saw in Minnesota, and as we saw in China. There are some places, there are some prophecies in China that have also acknowledged that. So it is important for you to be balanced in what we do, and that's what we do here.
Franklin, your last words, please.
Right. So I keep on saying this thing, that we like to play the ostrich, and that's why we keep on burning. The best now, right? So what I'm saying in a sense is, if we were before, call the book, call the bogana, only be bulajam whether. But the thing is, whereby your body is decaying and you're trying to blame somebody for being the one being responsible for the decay in your body, that does not work.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution today. Like I would always say, be the change you desire. Polity returns tomorrow 9:15 to 11 a.m. to stay still, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Thank you for being here. Good morning.
Plans, I know you did. Your heart dreams so many dreams. All these things you never get to see. Bloody flags with holes in them cover as you breathe your last. I swear things will never be the same. Lights went out and the shooters came shooting when all you did was sing a song. In broad daylight they still kill and abuse you, and then they say that no one died. So we'll cry, oh yes we'll cry, 'cause it's a lot, but we can't be done, this can't be all. Oh, we'll fight, oh yes we'll fight, this fight for us, this fight for you, this fight's for you. Way too much to go back now.